Welcome to the 84th devlog for Lazr. There's a lot to cover in this update, so I organized it into 4 chapters. First, we'll play through the new Snake Castle mission, which features 2 boss fights and a new enemy, the Snake. We'll splash through some waterfalls too. Then we'll explore new city levels like the subway and the sewers, along with a redesigned rebel headquarters. We'll also take a look at how the city levels connect using the new city map screen. I've changed how mission completions work too. Then we'll compete in the Thunderdome and see some intense combat. There's 9 waves, with each wave getting more difficult. We'll see enemies from every faction or gang in the Thunderdome, so there's a nice variety. Finally, we'll end with goals for the next update. Let's get started. This is the overworld representation of Snake Castle, where players can choose which level they'd like to play. This mission ends with a police chase, so that's why there's hover cops here. So Jada gives us tips and hints at the sewer snake connection. When players complete this mission, the snakes in the sewer levels no longer spawn, which makes it slightly easier to navigate the sewers. The first thing I'd like to draw your attention to is the foreground trees and depth of field effect. This level also connects to a city street, but I haven't decided which one yet. Eventually, I'd like all the mission levels to connect to city street levels similar to this. There's also new boxes in game that can be searched, which may spawn large or small coins. New level art has been created too, like this hover RV. Some care was taken in design so that players can walk on the windshield. Waterfalls have been added to the game and are interactive. Here's the entrance to the new Snake Castle dungeon. This framing is showing off the dungeon themes of water, waterfalls, and snakes. Alright, let's start the dungeon. And that's Snake Castle. We'll head to the Rebel headquarters to get paid for completing the mission. This gives players another reason to return to headquarters, while also removing the previous mission complete screen that had a cheesy slot machine. The next major update is that Allied Movers Rebel headquarters has been redesigned. We'll pick up the game from the intro when we first meet Jada, as this also introduces headquarters well. Here is the introduction to Jada and the Rebels, along with the Allied Movers headquarters. Jada talks us through the Rebels' motivations and our role in the story, then sets us free with a powerful artifact to roam the city and complete missions. We'll look at CEO shrines after this dialogue. This is the first CEO shrine for HumaCorp. Interacting with this shrine opens up a screen that explains what HumaCorp does and who the CEO is. This makes the targets of the rebels much more clear, while also providing some justifications for their actions. The HumaCorp CEO portrait has been redesigned to be this tough-looking guy, and the boss fight with him will involve melee attacks, so it's just more thematically coherent now. The second shrine is coming soon. The third shrine is Voth's Shrine, and it's a soft introduction to the last and ultimate bad guy of this game's universe, Voth. This is still a very rough shrine, as the Voth logo will likely change, but Voth's portrait is very close to being final. I'm happy with how this dialogue explains Voth and the in-game missions leading up to the final battle in his space station. So this top level explains the rebels' goals and motivations. The second level here is about customizing the hero, Lazr. We'll talk with Pitch, and that takes us to the customization screen. The customization screen got some upgrades. There are now multiple presets accessible by pressing X. I've also added some more hero voices. The bottom floor features Tao, who explains his role in the gang. I'd like to eventually expand this to include some way to short stocks so the player can make additional money as each corporation falls. We'll talk with Tao and then head outside. This is the new exterior design, featuring depth of field traffic in the foreground. All exterior levels now feature some version of this, even if the traffic is absent. It adds a lot of depth and is an improvement over just fading the ground to black with a gradient. Some people have noted that the traffic feels overwhelming, and I think that's a nice contrast to interior levels that don't have as much action and distraction. We'll explore some interior levels now, since the people who rented these storage units left their doors open. This secret airbike mechanic hints at the Dogwood races, which are planned but not in game right now. The city robots finally got their dialogue back, advertising city services and spouting Voth propaganda as public service announcements. There's several of these dialogues. This is the new city map, showing all the city levels and how they connect. The current level is highlighted in yellow. The street name is displayed in yellow as well. Let's head downtown now and explore some other city levels that are connected. So we're downtown and we want to travel south into the subway and sewers. Other levels haven't been completed yet. First we'll travel east to Lord Street to show how streets connect horizontally. Now we'll travel into the subway. So these are those sewer snakes I mentioned earlier. They won't spawn if the player has completed Mission 3 Snake Castle. A new home level has been added, the abandoned airship. This level used to be in game but was removed, and now it's back with waterfalls. When players discover abandoned homes, they can choose to squat in these places. That means when you load up your game, you will spawn at this city location, your home. And when you fast travel home, you will load into this city location. Homes will be expanded upon later. Hidden packages have been added to the game. Good luck finding them. Extra life vending machines have been added to the game. You'll need extra lives, and this is an easy way to get them. The Thunderdome returns in this version. The premise is simple. You fight waves of enemies, you get paid. It's an arena fighter minigame. It's also quite fun. We'll explore that now. The Thunderdome is a city level with streets and traffic, so I'll show that off real quick and then we'll head inside and fight. The million credit reward is a bit much right now because most artifacts are in the hundreds to thousands of credits range. When expensive homes are added, this reward amount will make more sense. Let's start fighting. Round 10 isn't complete yet, so this is it for the Thunderdome for now. Now I'd like to do something different and critique the first mission in the game and make the case for why it needs to be redesigned for the 5th or 6th time. I don't know, I stopped counting to be honest. First off, this is the overworld representation of the first mission, and very obviously there is rain falling. And when we load into the levels, there is no rain falling. So you can see how that would bother me. We need rain to be falling in the levels, and the levels need to be built to accent that and feature lots of city civilians. This level is missing foreground traffic and rain, but it does have a variety of protesters and frames the Humacorp dungeon entrance well. This framing is nice and conveys the correct message. This is something I'd like to keep. The scientists now have dialogue that is generic and special dialogue specifically for some levels, as we'll see soon. I like the employee entrance sign, but it needs to be in all game languages. So as we get into these interior levels, the issues really start to show up. First, there are no real puzzles to be solved, so these switches and doors don't really serve a purpose beyond being a one-way gate. I like the elevator and the blood over here, but falling down the elevator shaft seems basic and not done very well. These signs are funny and satirical, but need to be in all languages. And the following rooms are entirely horizontal and vertical with no slopes or stairs added. I love the zombie theme and their ability to infect others. I want to play this up in the redesign. I love the background art in these rooms, but I hate how they connect, so I want to redesign that. This bloody dungeon area has a fun theme, but it isn't done very well. I'd like to see more design ideas put into this area. Here, we transition to an interior that looks like a hospital for no reason other than I had it laying around. It doesn't make thematic sense. These patients that explode are featured nowhere else in the game, and you can really tell this area was just thrown together without any real design or theme. I really hate it. Oh look, a random slope leading to the boss door. Why? Like, just why? This is the first actual boss fight versus the hover tank. I'm happy with the dialogue and the boss fight is decent. It's the first one of the game, so it should show off more and be easy. Unfortunately, it doesn't show off much, and it is easy. I'd like to dial the fun and coolness of this boss fight up a lot, and that may entail reimagining this boss entirely, we'll see. The bigger problems are the levels leading up to it though. During these mission complete dialogues, Jada reminds us again and again to return to headquarters where she will pay us a reward. And here's what that looks like. It's simple. Jada even gives us some advice about restocking our artifacts. That brings us to the goals section of the devlog. The next update will be big. I plan to complete a new Mission 1 along with Missions 4 and 5. That's a lot, but Mission 4 and Mission 5's level art is already done. The bosses are already done as well. So really I'm just remixing the levels and injecting more themes into these two missions, not building them from scratch. The same concept applies to Mission 1 too, so I don't think these will take significant time to remix or manifest difficult problems. I will also be adding many new city levels that connect fast travel locations together and allow for city exploration. These levels will help to fill out the city map. And finally, last but not least, cloth will return. We currently have a very robust chain system in game, and I'd like to revisit the cloth system and update it to be even faster and have sprites and sound effects like chains do. So that means we'd have nets made of metal chains or vines or ropes, all the different types in game now. I'm excited about that, as it's a return to the cloth former roots where Lazr started. Thanks for joining me on the development journey of Lazr. You can play test the latest version of Lazr on Steam, just download the demo. You can also join the Discord for daily updates and to provide feedback. See you in the next devlog.